What if I told you that a business with a 30 to 40% profit margin, recession-proof demand, and minimal competition exists in almost every neighborhood in America? And what if this business could be purchased for as little as $100,000 down, generate immediate cash flow day one, and be managed remotely or semi-remotely with the right systems? Listen, today I'm breaking down how buying just one laundromat can create the financial freedom you've been chasing through stocks, real estate, or your 9 to 5 job. I'll share real numbers from 3 different laundromats that have completely changed their owners' lives, including one that produces over $130,000 in annual cash flow on complete autopilot. So let's talk about the hidden economics of coin-op laundromats, or just laundromats. Most people walk past laundromats every day without even realizing they're walking past cash machines in plain sight. There's a common misconception that laundromats are low-margin businesses struggling to turn a profit. The reality? They're one of the most consistent cash flow businesses you can own if you understand how they really work. Let's break down why laundromats can generate 30 to 40% profit margins when properly managed. First, let's look at the cost structure. A typical mid-sized laundromat will have 3 main expenses: rent, utilities, and maintenance, and labor too. For example, take a location doing $15,000 in monthly revenue. Utilities might run $2,200. Rent could be around $2,500, and maintenance might cost $500 a month. That leaves $9,800 before labor and other costs. With 2 attendants working part-time, you're probably looking at another $1,500 to $2,000 in payroll. Many people don't realize laundromats make most of their monies from washers rather than dryers. Single load in a 40-pound washer can generate $4 to $6 in under 30 minutes. That same machine can run 6 to 8 cycles a day without breaking a sweat. Multiply that across 20 machines, and the numbers start to make sense pretty quickly. Dryers actually generate much lower margins at about 40 cents per load, but they're necessary to keep the cycle moving. This laundromat industry has changed dramatically in recent years thanks to automation. Card systems have replaced coin ops in most modern laundromats, eliminating cash handling and reducing theft. Remote monitoring lets owners check machine status, revenue, and even receive maintenance alerts from their phone or laptops wherever they're at in the world. Some owners manage multiple locations with less than 10 hours of work per week total. Here's what an actual P&L, or profit and loss, looks like for a well-run store. At $15,000 gross monthly revenue, the net profit comes out to around $6,000 after all expenses. That's a 40% margin. This isn't theoretical. I've seen dozens of laundromats hitting these numbers consistently, even during economic downturns. People prioritize clean clothes over nearly everything else. They were an essential business and essential service before it was cool. The magic happens when you invest in high efficiency equipment that reduces utility costs and increases capacity. The new 40-pound washers use about 18 to 20 gallons of water per cycle compared to the 30 plus gallons in older machines. Over hundreds of cycles per week, those savings add up fast. Better insulation on dryers can cut gas cost usage by 15 to 20% as well. Maintenance contracts are another key piece most new owners overlook. For around $200 to $300 a month, you can have a technician handle all your repairs and preventative maintenance. This eliminates the biggest worry most people have about equipment breakdowns. The average commercial washer lasts, 15 to 20 years with proper care. The real advantage comes from these businesses being what I call anti-fragile. When the economy slows down, more people use laundromats instead of buying their own machines. When rents rise, people move to smaller apartments without laundry hookups. The business actually benefits from trends that hurt all other retail concepts. But how do you actually find one of these opportunities? They're not listed like most regular businesses, and most owners don't know how to properly value them. The best deals usually come from owners who've been in the business for 20 plus years and they're ready to retire. With the right approach, you can structure deals with little money down and immediate cash flow. So let's talk about your escape plan from your 9 to 5 job. Imagine getting that call from your boss telling you that you're fired, but instead of panic, you feel relief because your laundromat covers all your bills. That's the kind of freedom that this business can create. Unlike other side hustles that demand nights and weekends, a well-run laundromat needs just 5 to 10 hours of oversight per week. Most side businesses become second jobs. Food trucks require you to work every lunch rush and weekends. Rental properties mean midnight calls about broken pipes. Laundromats run on predictable cycles. Customers serve themselves, machines run on timers, and your main job is making sure everything stays operational. With card payment systems and remote monitoring apps, you can check revenue and machine status from anywhere. Let's take Jason, a former IT manager who bought a laundromat 3 years ago. Spent 6 months learning the business, then hired a part-time attendant to handle daily operation. His location clears $8,500 a month after expenses. He works about 5 hours a week, reviewing reports, coordinating maintenance, and overseeing his attendants. Then there's Maria. She's a nurse who purchased a laundromat near an apartment complex. She kept her job for the first year, but quit when the business hit $120,000 in annual profit. What's her secret? Relentlessly outstanding customer service, the right tech stack, and targeted marketing. She now travels 3 months out of the year while her attendant manages day-to-day operations. Here's how the time breakdown actually works for a single location. Monday mornings start with checking weekend revenue reports, about 20 minutes. You call your attendant, you verify everything ran smoothly, another 10 minutes or so. Maintenance check might happen quarterly unless a machine alerts you via the monitoring system. When you're starting, you'll spend more time training staff and optimizing processes, but after the first 6 months, weekly hours drop significantly for you if you want them to. Remote management starts with the right technology. Digital payment systems let you track every dollar in real time. Apps that show which machines are running and alert you to outages. Security cameras help deter theft and resolve customer disputes. Some owners use virtual assistants to handle customer service emails or social media inquiries, or even using AI for customer service calls. Staffing doesn't have to be complicated, but it is the other major piece of the puzzle if you're hoping to either run remotely or if you're hoping to minimize your time in your laundromat. Many successful laundromats operate with one part-time attendant who handles cleaning, restocking soap, assisting customers during the busy hours. Pay ranges from $12 to $20 an hour, depending on where you're located and rates of pay there. The best employees are often retirees, college students who want consistent morning or evening shifts, or people just in the neighborhood who are looking for a job. The path to passive income follows 3 phases. First, the initial 3 to 6 months where you learn operations and optimize your pricing. You're really focusing on developing your culture and getting your customer service systems in place. Second, the systemization phase where you document processes and train your staff. Finally, the delegation phase is where you step back and let the business run itself with you overseeing all the operations and staff. You can reach full delegation within a year if you focus on building systems from day one. Or you can shortcut that process and get the playbook handed to you from day one. After owning multiple laundromats, networking with hundreds of owners across the country and the globe, brokering laundromat deals, and well over 1,000 consulting calls now at that point, we've seen what works and what doesn't work in this industry. Success in this industry doesn't happen by accident. Successful owners buy and operate their businesses with a common set of principles and systems to guide them. We've put that systematic playbook together. And if you're interested in hearing more about how we can help you shortcut success to your laundromat empire, check out laundromatresource.com/playbook and book a free call to hear more about it. Now, let's take Alex's story as proof. He purchased a struggling laundromat, or we call them zombie mats, for $150,000. He spent $300,000 upgrading to card readers and some energy efficient machines and hired a retired couple to manage daily operations. Within 18 months, his net profit hit $96,000 annually. He now oversees 4 locations while working fewer hours than his old marketing job demanded. Listen, the financial runway is shorter than people think. If you buy a laundromat grossing $10,000 a month, within a year, you could replace a $60,000 salary without working 40 hours a week. The key is treating it like an investment, not a job. You wouldn't personally flip every burger in a franchise you own. Apply that same mindset to your laundromat. Now, let's talk about the biggest fears holding people back. Visions of broken machines, ghost town locations, and staffing nightmares keep potential owners from taking action. But here's what they're missing. Every potential buyer I meet has the exact same nightmares keeping them up at 3 a.m. Equipment breakdowns wiping out profits, a new competitor opening across the street, which happened to me actually, and an unreliable staff ruining the business. And these fears, they're real. I don't want to downgrade them. These are real fears, but none of them are insurmountable with the right approach. Let's break down each one with solutions that actually work in the real world. The fear of equipment failures tops the list. I spoke with an owner in Chicago who lost $15,000 in 1 month when 3 washers failed during the peak season. But here's what most people don't know. Preventative maintenance contracts cost about $200 to $400 per month to keep your machines in good shape. The secret is catching problems before they happen through regular inspections, checking water valves every month, lubricating bearings quarterly, and replacing hoses every couple years. Modern machines even send alerts when components start wearing out. Catch those problems before they become big problems. Competition fears are equally common, but often misplaced. The laundromat industry has a lot of natural barriers that protect existing businesses. New competitors usually need at least $750,000 for equipment and build out, plus zoning approval that can take months. The CLA did a study that found established locations regain 90% of their customers within 3 months when a new competitor opens up. The key, though, is focusing on what competitors can't easily replicate. Loyal customers from years of service, prime locations with good parking, and well-maintained equipment. Again, similar to the equipment problems, the best solution for a new competitor coming in or potentially coming in is actually preventative maintenance. Treat your customers well, keep your laundromat in really good shape, and you won't have any problems. One owner in Phoenix actually saw revenue increase when a competitor opened because the new location brought more visibility to the area. Staffing issues are real, and they keep many potential owners on the sidelines. A laundromat in Miami got stuck with an attendant who stole $500 in quarters before getting caught. And honestly, might have been even more than that, but that's as much as they caught them stealing. The solution, though, is to eliminate cash handling completely with a card or app-based payment system. For attendants, successful owners follow a simple hiring formula. Retirees for part-time work, college students needing flexible hours, or stay-at-home parents who want daytime shifts. Listen, background checks cost $30 online and take 48 hours. Clear checklists provided to your attendants prevent most issues if you follow up and ensure that they're actually following those checklists. Attendants should sweep the floors hourly, wipe down machines at least twice a day, and restock vending machines every Monday, for example. Cameras with cloud storage provide peace of mind and evidence if disputes arise, or you can check on your employees to make sure, again, that they're following the checklist that you provide them. The biggest surprise for most owners is how predictable this business can become after its first 6 months. Breakdowns follow patterns. Sunday evenings see the most repairs because that's when usage peaks. Sundays is the busiest day of the week for most laundromats. Staffing stabilizes once you find reliable workers through local Facebook groups or Nextdoor posts, things like that. Competition threats are easy to spot when you monitor commercial real estate listings in your area and are just keeping an eye on what's going on. Proactive owners use 3 safeguards to minimize risk. First, they keep a reserve fund equal to 3 months of expenses. Second, they network with other laundromat owners to share repair contacts and staffing leads and to help problem solve together. That's why in our pro community, laundromatresource.com/pro, not only do you get access to a whole bunch of tools and resources to help you get into the business and then succeed once you're in there, we also take the time to pair you up in a mastermind group where you meet with other people in whatever phase of ownership that you're in to to problem solve together, to keep each other accountable, to help strategize on how each of us can grow our businesses together. Mastermind groups have been one of the most powerful things that I have done personally for my businesses. And I invest multiple five figures every single year in being in mastermind groups, and joining one at laundromatresource.com/pro is significantly cheaper than that. Third, they simplify operations so even temporary workers can manage the basics. One owner in Texas created laminate instruction sheets showing how to reset machines and handle common customer questions. Super easy, super simple, and it eliminated a lot of their headache. The reality is that laundromats survived every economic downturn for the past 50 years because people prioritize and need clean clothes. Your grandmother's laundromat used coin boxes and paper receipts. Modern locations run on apps, cards, and remote monitoring. What hasn't changed is the need for someone to own and maintain the machines. That's where you come in. Successful owners view problems through a systems lens. Equipment fails, that's what service contracts are for. Staff quits, cross-train backup workers. New competitor, double down on customer service and equipment quality and cleanliness. The laundromats that struggle are the ones that run reactively instead of proactively. So, what does it actually take to get started? The barriers are lower than you might think, especially if you focus on the fundamentals from day one. The best opportunities often come from owners who don't realize what they have. So let's talk about the $100,000 life changer. Here's exactly how someone with $100,000 can go from researching laundromats to owning one in 90 days. The process works even if you've never run a business before, but you need to follow the right steps in order. First, understand that most laundromats sell for around 4 to 5, sometimes 5.5 times the annual net profit. A location clearing $60,000 per year net might list for somewhere between $240,000 to $330,000. And with that $100,000, you can either buy a smaller operation outright or put 30 to 50% down on a larger one. Financing hurdles, they stop most beginners. A lot of times traditional banks reject laundromat loans because they don't understand the business model, or the previous owner, the existing owner, didn't do a good job keeping their books. So what's the solution? Seller financing is one great solution. About 60% of laundromat sales include some sort of seller carryback where the owner acts as the bank. Typical terms are 5 to 7 years at 6 to 8% interest with a balloon payment at the end. I recently helped a buyer secure a deal where he put $75,000 down on a $250,000 purchase, with the seller financing the rest over 5 years. His payments were $1,800 a month while the business netted $5,000 a month. Now, that's not the only way to finance a laundromat. In fact, I put together a video that shows 9 different ways to finance a laundromat. You might want to check it out. I'll put the link down in the description for you so you can go check that out if the financing is what's holding you back. Let's talk about finding the right location. It starts with 3 key metrics. First, look for an area with at least 10,000 people within a mile, or if you're in a more rural area, look for an area that has at least around 10,000 people in the surrounding area between towns. Second, target neighborhoods where 40% or more residents rent their homes if possible. And third, check for nearby apartment complexes with units lacking washer-dryer hookups. Drive-by traffic matters less than you think. Most customers live within a half-mile radius, especially if you're in a city. One buyer in Atlanta thought a busy street corner was perfect until he learned the nearby condos all had in-unit laundry. He passed and found a better spot behind a grocery store in a rental-heavy area. Now, when I bought my first laundromat, I actually ended up losing a lot of money. And one reason for that is because I did not do proper due diligence. Due diligence separates successful buyers from struggling ones. Most people check basic financials but miss crucial details. You need to verify utility costs by reviewing 12 months of bills, not just taking the seller's word. Check water pressure with a simple gauge test. Low pressure means longer wash cycles and frustrated customers. Review maintenance records to spot problem machines. The smartest buyers visit at different times to count actual customers rather than relying on revenue reports alone. We actually utilize what I call the income verification stack. The income verification stack is a process that we go through of verifying the income in various ways, and we stack them on top of each other to make sure that everything's making sense. And anything that stands out, we dig more into. One client discovered a laundromat's busy weekends were really just one family doing commercial laundry for their restaurant. The point of due diligence is to answer all the questions possible and to have as clear a picture as possible of that business, of that laundromat before it becomes your laundromat. We don't want to have any big surprises coming your way after you take over ownership of a laundromat. One of my recent clients' timeline shows how fast this could happen. Week 1 to 2, he identified 5 potential locations through biz buy sell and local brokers. Week 3, he visited 3, eliminating 2 due to poor equipment condition. In week 4, he made an offer on the remaining one at $210,000 with 40% down. Week 5, his inspection revealed that the laundromat needed $15,000 in upgrade, so he negotiated the price down to $195,000. In weeks 6 through 8, he secured financing through a credit union, small business loan. Week 9, trained with the previous owner for 3 days, and then week 10, he took over operations while keeping the existing laundromat attendant. Within 4 months, he'd increased revenue by 12% by adding drop-off service and a loyalty program. He actually has a whole lot more meat on the bone now that we have started working with him, and I suspect that 12% is going to grow pretty significantly over the next 3 or 4 months as we start to implement some of our strategies from the Laundromat Playbook. Equipment conditions can make or break deals. Commercial washers typically last 15 to 20 years if properly maintained. Look for multi-load washers, 30 to 50, 60 pound capacity, even higher than that, 80 or 100 pound washers are even better. Obviously, residential models are not as good, and the traditional top load models are not as good as well. They tend to use more utilities, more water, more electricity. They create a bigger mess. They're slower, and they don't clean as well. However, some customers do like them, so I'll just throw that out there. Check the control boards for corrosion, a sign of poor maintenance. Dryers should have moisture sensors to prevent over drying. The best locations have a mixture of small, medium, and large machines to serve different customer needs. But really, you need to assess that depending on your demographics and who your customer base actually is. Now, let me show you what life looks like after success. The real payoff comes not just in the numbers, but in the freedom to design your days around what matters most to you. One owner uses his laundromat income to fund his passion for vintage car restoration. Another makes 3-month international trips while her manager sends weekly reports. The most successful owners view their laundromats not as jobs, but as systems that generate consistent returns with proper oversight. What would you like to spend your time doing? I personally bought a house here in Hawaii, and as soon as I finish recording this, I'm going to head over to the beach with my kids and go surfing. But listen, every successful laundromat owner started where you are right now, asking if this opportunity could really work for them. The business hasn't changed that much in 50 years because it doesn't need to. People will always need clean clothes, regardless of economic conditions or technological shifts. All that's really happened is that this business has gotten easier to manage and to be able to do on a larger scale. What makes laundromats special is their combination of cash flow and simplicity. When you own one, you control how much of your time it takes versus how much money it makes. The owners we talked about earlier all followed the same path. Research, purchase, systematize, then enjoy the freedom. If you're ready to take the next step, take one of 2 paths I have for you. Path 1 is if you're still in the research mode or if you're in a DIY, I'm going to do this on my own. Head over to the playlist that I linked down below. On YouTube. It's a free 3-lesson course on how to buy your first laundromat. It's jam-packed with great information that's going to give you a good basis to move forward and actually be able to start the process of buying your first laundromat. So go check that out. If, on the other hand, you want to eliminate all of that work and all of that risk, and you just want the playbook handed to you, head over to laundromatresource.com/playbook. Check out some information there. And if you want to book a call with us to hear more about how we can help you ensure that you get into this business the right way the first time and shortcut your path to freedom. Getting started is easier than you think. The hardest part is taking that first step. And I've seen it over and over and over again. If you can get over taking that first step, you can make it happen for you. This opportunity to own laundromats exists in neighborhoods all across the country and really across the world. It's just waiting for someone to see the potential, and that someone could be you. People will always need clean clothes. The question is, will you be the one providing that service in your community? I think maybe it should be you. And we've got tons of free resources to help you get there. And again, if you are interested in shortcutting all of that process and working with us directly, head over to laundromatresource.com/playbook and book a call, and I'll talk with you personally.